We're joined now in the studio by Mr. Alex Ogbodo, Afia TV Head of News and Current Affairs, who monitored the screening and confirmation of commissioner-nominees at the Enugu State House of Assembly yesterday. Mr. Alex, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Thank you,
morning,
Natalie.
welcome.
Thank you, OG.
The big man, OG.
Yeah, the thing brought back memories. I used to cover the house back in the days, 2012, I think. So, I mean, nothing much has changed in that. But the nomination, the process was okay. At least this is the first time I'm witnessing the process of screening and confirming commissioners. It took quite a while, 6 of them. I think it takes almost an hour, screening two. They were screening them in twos. So I think I was impressed with some of some of the nominees answered their questions. I am big on confidence. If I can't hear you through the mic, that's a problem. And we know that mic works. So I won't get into the details of who I couldn't hear. Then people will find out. Because at the end of the day, there are things you cannot hide. I believe that if you are presenting yourself to be appointed in this position, you have to understand that you have to be confident, because that's the first test. The first test is your confidence, your courage, your poise, your body language.
And you prepare all you have.
Right before we go ahead, let's go on this quick breather. Yeah. When we come back, we'll delve further into details. The morning show returns in split seconds. Stay tuned.
All right.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show. I'm Mr. Alex Ogbodo, Afia TV Head of News and Current Affairs, is still here. He monitored the screening and confirmation of the commissioner nominees. Mr. Alex, what would you say really stood out for you during the screening exercise? You've already cited one. Now, there was someone who you do not want to disclose that was not audible enough. I have left that task to Enugu to discover. Perhaps they will.
This has nothing to do with the person's competence, and that needs to be.
I said I'm a lot more about confidence.
What's been audible at this point? Like, if you want to judge from that.
I mean, imagine that your ministry is doing something and you need to address the press.
Yeah,
we should hear you.
That's right.
We should hear you. Well, they will go through orientation. They will sort that out.
So what stood out beyond the inaudibility of one of the commissioners?
I think that what stood out, but some of the nominees were quite brilliant with their responses. Engineer Okoh, Engineer Osita Okoh, was quite brilliant. He came fully prepared. He's an engineer, current certified. So he is coming with a lot of big credentials. And this is happening at the moment. Enugu is going through a lot of issues about the quality of work done by some of the contractors. So you really need someone who understands the process, who would actually wield the big stick and set up machineries to check substandard construction anywhere it is happening.
So already you're thinking he's definitely going to be in the commission of works.
I don't know that. It's the governor because a lot of people who are commissioners today are not holding portfolios that reflect what they read in school. Yeah.
But regarding the works, as I said, Enugu State is a construction site.
It is.
At this point in time, right? So not like the recent or the current commissioner for works is not doing a whole lot. But I heard he's a chemical engineer or thereabout. So definitely somebody who is in that institution, a civil institution, would call these things out more.
Well, what I know is that there's going to be a cabinet reshuffle. Some people will move from their cabinet, the portfolio they were holding, to another one, because they obviously need a rejig now. With everything, with all the onslaught that their critics are heaping on them, they need a rejig. They need to show that they are listening. Because if they don't rejig and start having good results, I'm not sure it's looking good.
Okay, now I would like us to just put a quick caveat here. We do not have the portfolios of any of the commissioners that have just been confirmed. We don't have the portfolios. So everything going on now, we're just speculating.
Just speculations
and we're also not trying to discredit the work of anybody. So let's leave that aside now and jump onto this. In terms of the presentations made during the screening, the carriage of the commissioner nominees, their backgrounds. What was your appreciation? Could you tell us more about the backgrounds of some of the new commissioners that you can recall at this point in time, and how they were able to carry themselves during the screening exercise? How hard was this Enugu assembly on them? You know, there's this rumor now, or this gist out there, they say rubber stamp Senate, but that's at the Senate level. Did it seem like a rubber stamp?
No, it wasn't.
Or was it critical?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't rubber stamp, and it wasn't a civil war too. They asked the questions they were supposed to ask.
Why wasn't it a civil war? Would have liked a civil war.
No, because you have no need for a civil war in a screening. A screening is more or less an intellectual exercise. That's what it is. Like you are going through a verbal exam. They ask you, okay, if you're given the portfolio of maybe Commissioner for Information, how would you manage information flow in the state? And then they want to know whether you have an idea of what it's about. So you start answering. They want to know whether the person has the confidence, the courage to get the job done. Because remember, people might be hyping a particular position for you, but the governor might end up giving you something else. And with the point that was made there in the House repeatedly, no one knows the positions that will be assigned to any of the commissioners, except, of course, Dr. Ogbu-Nwobodo, who is replacing Adora Chukwu. Right. That's the only one that is clear. Every other person, they don't know. It's just mere speculation.
Were there any surprises or controversies during the exercise?
Yeah, there was some kind of, when you have one of the commissioners, I won't mention the name, I think people from their area wanted to submit a petition to withdraw him, but they were told to submit the petition through their House of Assembly member, which is a proper thing to do. So, but it didn't stop anybody from getting their time at the screening podium. You have to be screened. It's a statutory process. The interesting thing, I don't know why. Well, in some of the communities, maybe some people believe somebody shouldn't be this, somebody shouldn't be that, but it's the governor's prerogative. The governor can take 4 commissioners from one local government if he wants. Yes, if he wants. Because all you needed is to give each local government a commissioner. That's the one that's statutory, for state character, if you like. Any other appointments that is not based on state character, you can appoint them from anywhere. So it's the governor's prerogative to appoint anybody from anywhere. So if you're having protestations, except maybe it's something about somebody having a criminal past, which isn't the case actually. But, people just come up with all this clannish stuff just to make headlines,
So, do you think this is the governor trying to prioritize, his strategy, moving Enugu from $4.4 billion to $30 billion economy, trying to rejig his cabinet, apparently to propel and still have that headway of, getting to that standpoint he's been anticipating from the one he hit the ground running?
Yeah, that's the whole plan. I mean, he's big on infrastructure, but the infrastructure will need to be solid. I guess that's part of why you are getting more people on board to actually help him to supervise and take a look at what people are doing. But I would say here that they need the people of Enugu on board.
They need the people of Enugu on board. Are they not?
One is to have your commissioners with you, but you need Enugu people on board. The reason is, if things are happening in government, but the people are giving you a different response, maybe something is not being, moved to them in a way they will understand.
Can you elaborate on this?
I will elaborate on this by saying that if the people don't seem to be in sync with the government policies, a lot of work needs to be done in telling the people what's going on.
Okay, they're not communicating.
I don't know whether the word is communicating.
Are we lacking? Yes. Okay, since we don't have a commissioner for information.
Yes.
Well, as you can see,
is it where we're mixing it? We're missing.
Yeah, because normally there has to be someone whose duty is to talk for the state government. This is different from the other commissioners doing their jobs. Because at the end of the day, if you needed a quick response, like Natalie would immediately call Law Mefo from Anambra State to respond to things. If you needed to respond to something, it will mean that you may have to call the commissioner with that portfolio, but sometimes they are not quite disposed to come to the press.
Right.
So you need someone
Yes.
that's really on short notice.
So let me
to
jump
talk for
in
the
there.
government.
Now, just a quick recap, because I understand, I mean, there are 6 of them. I'll read out their names again. We have Mr. Benjamin Okoh, Prof. Benedeth Okoli, Mr. Franklin Ogbonna, Dr. Samuel Ogbu-Nwobodo, Prof. George Ugwu, and Mr. Ben Collins, Ndu Jr. Of this list, which of them, as removing Samuel Ogbu-Nwobodo, which of them do you think fits the criteria? Just a speculative, suggestion. Which of these do you think fits the criteria to handle the position of Commissioner for Information in Enugu State?
I don't know, because there's no... What I know about if you're going to have a commissioner for information, the person should have at least a journalistic background. That's the fair, is the fair barest minimum selection criteria. That's what it is. You are going to be interfacing with the press all through. You're going to be interfacing with the press. That's what it is. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way. I don't know, but if someone who isn't of a journalistic background occupies the position of Commissioner for Information, his mindset towards the press will not be like that of someone who has that.
Was there any
background.
of them with a journalistic background that you observed?
I mean, if there was, I would have been telling you.
Okay.
I mean, if there's any journalist there, I think I should have known that.
Yeah. Right. Maybe I did journalist there.
You didn't just go. You didn't just go. You just did the how on the show, right?
No,
Alex.
I didn't.
Does any of these individuals, or does this reflect merits or political loyalty? Is this a kind of pleasing, or what politicians normally do? Sometimes they reshuffle their cabinet just to please some certain faction or people, right? Or this is a merit, and these are individuals who are meant to go to this parastatals and do or continue doing a good work.
Okay. One can be qualified to be a commissioner, but then the governor determines the portfolio you will hold. Because I'm sure there have been times even journalists held other positions other than Commissioner for Information. So it's still the prerogative of the governor to determine who will be anything in his cabinet. He can decide to give a nuclear scientist the Commissioner for Labor and Productivity. That's how it goes. It's up to the governor to determine how he wants people to work for him or with him. It's up to him.
You didn't answer my question.
Yeah,
my question is that the nominees from the investigation, or you are there when they roll out their qualifications and all that, and also their interviews with the members of the House. Does it seem that this is the governor
qualified to be commissioners,
trying to please some certain people?
It's
plug people into, as you complain to our governance is somewhat elites. So is it kind of pleasing, or these guys are on merit?
Well, just with the exception of Senator Ben Collins Ndu Jr.
Oh yeah.
You don't have any other person whose father is this or that. I mean, I think it's a bit unfair again. This happened to Babangida's son after they offered.
You had to go there.
I had to go there because somebody will argue that if somebody's son is qualified to hold a position in a state, would you deny the person that because his father was a senator?
That's right.
Or his father was a governor? It's not fair. If you're qualified to be commissioner, the first line will be that the governor will get you in. He will determine the position you hold.
All right.
The important thing is that you must have the requisite education.
Let's leave
exposure.
that now for the state government to decide upon. I mean, I know the next step will be for the new commissioners to be issued their portfolios, and then would continue to monitor it. I'm sure you would definitely continue to monitor it as you already started. And maybe I'll come there with the aha moment following you. I had to do it. Sorry, Mr. Alex. Thank you, Mr. Alex, once again.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have an insightful conversation with producer Nka Lounge, Tobina Okuma, as he brings us up to speed with this month's version of Nka Lounge, which is supposed to be celebrating high life. The morning show returns in seconds. Stay tuned.